Welcome to Business Prowess with Rafael and Dr. Andrea. Our show will bring you the best insights, ideas, and inspiration from successful entrepreneurs and CEOs in the business world. Don't miss out on the opportunity to learn from the best and stay ahead of the game. Sifu Rafael is the founder of 5 unique shows. He's a fitness professional, solutions expert, executive coach, and head instructor at Max Martial Arts and Fitness in New York. Dr. Andrea Adams-Miller is an award-winning international keynote speaker, best-selling author, and CEO of the Red Carpet Connection Publicity, Publishing, and Talent Agency, and CEO of IgniteYourRelationship.com. Known as the Dream Maker, she makes visionaries' dreams come true, bigger than they ever dare to desire.
Dr. Andrea, how are you on this beautiful Friday?
I am hunky and dory. Looks like I'm in the sun.
Love it. Hunky and dory and in the sun. What else could you ask
my
for,
light.
right?
It's so bright in here. Wow.
There you go. There you go. So what an incredible show we have lined up today, because relationships matter in business. And being that this is a business show, what better place to show some love? So let's go ahead and bring Robert and Dr. Cali. Thank you so much, both of you, for joining us on Business Prowess. How are you?
Good morning. Blessed to be here. Thank you both.
Good morning. Thanks for having us.
Well, we're glad to have you. So I'm super excited about this because, when a lot of times, for Robert, some people don't always understand that, money and faith can go hand in hand. And likewise with Dr. Cali, when people hear the word addiction, often they have a negative connotation. And the idea of people that can have an addiction, overcome an addiction, and live a very valuable, positive, amazing life and not have to be like it's, like the drama that we see on television or in Hollywood. It doesn't have to be like that. And so I love, Dr. Cali, that you're going to be able to let us see a different life of that and how you help people in such a positive way to really, come out of the darkness and be super positive.
Absolutely.
Absolutely, yeah.
So who wants to go first?
Yeah, go ahead.
I'll say ladies first. There you go.
Cool.
Okay, well, thanks for having me. I'm Dr. Cali Estes, and I specialize in executives and celebrities, and we do addiction, mental health, burnout, anything that stops you from being the best version of yourself. So whether it's any type of vice, drugs, alcohol, food, sugar, too much Amazon shopping, porn, whatever the problem is that intercedes when you're trying to be the better version of yourself, we like to remove. So I have a special 5-day executive reset where I take everybody back and we remove the traumas and the issues and the blocks, and we kind of get you moving in the right direction. So that's in a nutshell what I do. I have a company called Sober on Demand, and we're able to also detox you medically from any drug that you're on and provide sober companions and services like that. And then I also have a training school for people who want to learn how to do this type of work to get trained and get out there to help other people. So that's sort of what I do.
Love it. Robert?
Outstanding. So I do wear several hats. First and foremost, I'm a pastor. I'm also a co-author of the Witness Partner Series. And then third, I'm a financial advisor for 30 years. So kind of enjoy, and a husband and a grandfather to 12 little grandkids. And so just an exciting life that we live. But, my mission is to develop relationships in every facet. As you mentioned earlier, it is all about relationships. We can sell something, we can offer something, but if we don't get to know the person, how are we really helping them unless we get to know them? And I know that's something that you, Dr. Cali, are working on explicitly, is getting to know people on a deeper level. And I think they all appreciate that. So.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. By the way, I wanted to tell you that both of our guests today are authors. And Dr. Cali, you're writing Principles to Tap into the Wealth Inside of You. Wow, that's incredible. And Robert, your book, Enoch, The First Witness, The First 4 Days. What an incredible book, incredible books you both have written. And when we think about relationships, you're connecting with people you've never met.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And that is pretty incredible with writing a book, with being here on the show. People who haven't met you yet are going to go, I need to know more about them. So relationships matter in all aspects of our lives, because you're creating, through your books, you're creating relationships. Through podcasting, you're creating relationships. In your community, you're creating relationships. How does that relationship matter in business for you? Either one of you can take it.
Well, I'll just jump in. I think it's important, especially who you are is what people see 24/7. Be who you are everywhere you are, so you can be consistent. And people are looking for consistent relationships. They're looking for mentors. I know you, Dr. Callis, you mentor people. So the same thing we do as pastors and as financial advisors is we mentor people to make good, wise decisions. But they look and see, are you doing the same thing as you're recommending that we do? So the character side of a relationship is very keen. Because people are watching your nonverbals. They're watching if you look them in the eye, if you give them time to speak, if you're a great listener, if you're patient and not in a hurry to answer. It's very key there that they're watching these things. And of course, that can lead to a strong relationship when they feel they're being heard.
That's interesting you said that, Robert, because the two things I teach are every human wants to be heard and every human wants to be valued.
Yes.
And in every relationship you have, B2B or B2C, you have to hear the person and you have to provide value. So if they feel valued, you have a great collaboration when you're doing business to business relationships, because you're hearing them and you're providing value and they're providing value and you're all working together. And same thing with personal relationships. If somebody doesn't feel valued and they don't feel heard, they're not going to stick around in your life. And vice versa. If you don't feel valued, you're not going to stick around. So those two things are key in any relationship.
Agreed. Yes.
Valued. Wow. We need to value relationships, but some relationships we need to get away from, right? Because they don't bring any value. If anything, they're sucking the value that we have out. And then we don't really show up like you talked about, Dr. Cali, showing up and providing value in any relationship that we have, whether it's personal or business. And I love the fact that you brought up value, because sometimes people don't understand the value of a relationship and how it can impact their whole life.
Anytime I do business, I show up with value first before I ask. So you always have the ask in business, right? You want to collaborate with somebody, exchange clients, do something. I don't show up and say, hey, Robert, what can you do for me today? Right. I show up and I say, hey, Robert, I have a client for you that's going to need your financial advice. And I give first. When I do that, then the other person says, wow, she didn't ask me for anything. She showed up. She provided value. Now they say, what can I do for you? And that becomes a reciprocal relationship. Now, of course, if Robert says, well, what else do you have for me? I know that's not going to be a good relationship because it's not equal. But most people, when you provide value, they want to provide value to you. And then it becomes a great working relationship organically from there.
I agree. And getting to know people on the level of their family, how long they've been married. I mean, just the details of their life show that you are interested in the value they bring to the table in the relationship. I look back to all the people we've helped, and the key thing, like to build on what we're all saying, is when they feel value and it exudes from you, the trust factor rises. And that's something that we can proudly say our clients really trust us and the people that we're in association and relationship with, because they know that we don't have a hidden agenda. The mission is you. It's not me.
I was having a giggle here, thinking that that would be actually fun to do a parody, like do Man on the Street, where you're like, hi, nice to meet you. I'd like to know what you can do for me and provide for my life.
Yeah, exactly. Those are fun on the spots. Yes.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Well,
I wonder what people would say if you did something like that. They would be like a little bit floored. Like,
well,
what do you mean you?
you live in Manhattan. I travel to Vegas a lot. Those are two great places to do man on the street. So that might be something that we need to do just for fun and see how people react to it. Who knows? You might meet some really wonderful, amazing people who know how to, twist on a dime and reevaluate the situation to make it positive. Who really bring, or they're a giver and they're like, "This is what I'd like to give to you," and you're like, "Win-win."
Well, it's like in the elevator. We all
Should I be in a suit? Should I be in a suit? What do you think, Robert? Should be in a suit, a t-shirt, ripped jeans? How do I show up to that encounter with
Be you.
somebody?
Be you.
Because yeah, but I'm so many of me, right? I
Ah.
dress in all different outfits. But here's the thing: the value that we present to someone else will have them perceive us in a certain way.
Mhm.
So if I showed up and ripped jeans, a ripped shirt, a little bit dirty looking, would they even
Show.
want to talk to me? Or would I show up in a really Gucci type t-shirt, really fancy sneakers and really nice jeans and a really nice belt or a really nice jacket or a sports jacket or a tie? So everybody's perception is going to be different based on how we show up. We might be holding a microphone in our hand,
Right.
but that may be different.
That's
Well,
so interesting. Go ahead, Robert.
I was just saying, some people case people with preconceived notions by how they look. To me, I look at their eyes. To me, the eyes are the window to the soul. So that's what I'm looking at. They can wear whatever they want. We have people coming to church who are dressed, not their best, if you will, or not the best they could, but that's okay. The heart is the matter. It's the heart of the matter. So in their eyes. Go ahead.
It's so funny you said that because I wear workout clothes all the time. Like that's my go-to. I don't have to be dressed. I'm in workout clothes. And I'll go shopping. I'll go to the grocery store. I'll run my errands like that. And people are always shocked when they start talking to me and the topic of what do you do for a living? I say, oh, I'm a doctor. And they go, you're a doctor? What? Really? Like, yes, I have a normal life like everybody else. They just assume that you're going to present a certain way because you have a title. And I always say it's a very expensive piece of paper sitting on my wall, usually hanging sideways behind me. It just doesn't, it's not important. What's important is that human connection that we have and not what I'm wearing or not what piece of paper I have or not what car I drive. It's who we are inside. It's the authenticity of who we actually are. And we get so caught up because there's so much TikTok and social media. What do you own? What do you wear? How do you look? That we forget we're all humans. We're all having this human experience. And all of those things don't matter because you could own all of those things and be a horrible human, or you can be a really good human and still own those things. They don't make who you are. So it's so hard to get people past all of those preconceived notions of show up as yourself, whether you wear the perfect dress clothes to church or, you wear what you found on the floor last night. The point is you're showing up. You're coming for the message and not maybe with your best clothes.
I love that. You talked about people come to church dressed differently. When I grew up Roman Catholic, it was wear your best on Sunday when you go to church.
Yes.
I'm no longer I am still Catholic, but I go to a regular Catholic church, if you will. And it's a pastor, it's not a priest.
Good.
And I'm looking around. I still showed up, not in a suit, but really nice shirts and, the whole deal. And I'm looking around and I'm seeing people in flip-flops and shorts. And so before I judged them, I said, wow, they're here. That was my first impression before I said, oh, what's wrong with them?
Yes.
And then here's the craziest thing. We got a new pastor, and all of a sudden, he's more down to earth than anybody. He one day said, hey, for those of you who think you can't bring your coffee cup to church, you can. Go ahead, get your Starbucks, get your 7-Eleven, get your Dunkin' Donuts. It's okay to drink while we worship. So it's not everything that we grew up with, because society has changed. It's you don't always see a doctor in a lab coat, right, Dr. Cali?
Yeah.
So we look at people sometimes and we still make that judgment. And instead of what you said, Robert, look at their eyes, listen to the words that they're saying, because the value comes from inside, not outside.
True. And the culture has changed, of course. And of course, how I was raised, we can share is, my mom and dad always said, listen, God gave you his best and still gives you his best. Give him your best on that day. And so that's just how I was raised. It's not, I don't wear a suit and I don't wear a tie or anything like that. I don't even wear a suit. I wear nice long sleeve shirts and try to look, respectable in that regard, but I'm not trying to show off or be better. It's not about being better. It's just saying, God, I want to honor you today. And I want to look as best as I can within reason. So, but yeah, absolutely. No, we have people come in off the street and we love them just as much as the next person. That doesn't matter what they're wearing. So yeah, it doesn't matter. We just want people to honor God with their time, their talent, their treasure, in this case, look as best as your situation allows you to for the Lord. And I think he'll honor that. That's what I would submit. So.
And I see people at their worst. So they're in whatever clothes, usually hugging the toilet bowl, praying to God that this is going to end and they're never going to drink again. So I see them from there and then get them back up where they need to be.
An observation I've had about how people dress is that when people are getting in a level of either trying to show up and appear that they have money, then they have this, flash and bling episode or, situation or trend in their life. And then as they make more money, then their casual tends to be expensive casual. And then as they get even more money, so I have worked for, everybody from startups to multi-billionaires, and even some of my billionaires now, the more money they make, they start to shift and they want to look like they don't have any money because they want people to like them and love them for who they are. So they'll have raggedy jeans, old, cars, that are no big deal. Like nobody would be impressed about that car. And they like it that way because they are just seen up. And so they might have on the ratty jeans and an old t-shirt, the same thing that, would be from Sears or a Walmart. I guess nobody goes to Sears anymore, but you know what I mean?
Wherever that is.
Yeah.
Well, I do have clients who come into the office or new clients, and again, no judging, but I don't try to read them by their clothing to say, hey, do you have money? What do you need from me? It's more that, hey, they just come in, we get to know each other. And then I have a client who you would think, and I say, this is what the world would think rather. You would think he digs ditches for a living. He just wears jeans and a t-shirt every time he comes in. He's worth about $40 million, but he looks like he's going to go to Walmart and buy something. And he doesn't dress to impress, but his character, he's the sweetest man I've met. Gentle, loving. His wife they adore each other. They're like high school sweethearts and they're in their 70s. So see, that's just beautiful though. They have that relationship going. So,
And to top of what Robert just said, I have a lot of wealthy clients, and what they tell me is I don't have the brain power to deal with what I'm going to wear. My brain power is building companies and building relationships. So that black t-shirt, they'll have 20 of the same t-shirt in their closet because they don't want the brain power in that. It's just easier and it's comfortable.
Well, think about Steve Jobs, right? Steve Jobs said, you know what? I'm just going to wear black turtlenecks. That's it. That was his whole wardrobe. And everybody's like, black turtleneck again. Oh, black turtleneck.
Well,
and he didn't care. It wasn't about what other people cared. It's what made him comfortable.
People are very surprised when they come to my house. One of the things that they love is they love to look at my closet. And my closet, it's all red. I don't have anything that is not red. So it starts from sleeveless shirts to long sleeve shirts, because I wear red shirts with black pants or dark gray pants, or sometimes white, but it's always a red shirt. I always wear red shoes. And then on the other side is dresses. So dresses with no sleeves to dresses with long sleeves, and they're all red. And so when anybody ever asks me, what are you wearing? If it's an event or something, I'm wearing a red dress. It's the same thing all the time. And you are right, Dr. Cali. I do not have to think about what I'm doing or where I'm at. There's a slight think. Is it warmer or is it cold? And then if I'm not sure, I just get in the middle and grab a sweater, and then it can adjust to wherever I'm at. Or even if it's sleeveless, if I wear a sweater, I'm fine. And this whole idea, and wearing the same simple little slippy on kind of tennis shoes that I wear. When I wore heels my whole life, and when I decided to switch to comfortable, easy tennis shoes, that's because I could get down, and when I'm speaking, I could literally lay on the stage or do something funny or run and get somebody or do something and jump, and I could be so playful in shoes instead of the heels that I always loved. And the second I did that, I'm like, oh, I'm not going back. And it's just made my life easy. You don't have to think when you already know what you're wearing. It's excellent.
Well, I'll piggyback that from a guy's perspective. My wife, when I met her, she dresses very well, and she's like, I dress like $1 million, so you need to look like you wear like about $500,000. Just be $500,000. So I don't shop for anything. She does all the shopping. She does all the tailoring. I'm not good with color matching, so of course I come and say, here's 3 things. What do you think? And she goes, boom, boom, go. So, but I defer that expertise to her. So.
And I do all black. I do all black.
There you
Then I
go.
do a scarf and shoes and a purse in color. That way I don't have to think. Black sweater, black dress, black, black, black. And then I can add pink, I can add teal, I can add purple, I can add red. Simple. Make it simple, and you don't have to think about it, and life is easy.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well,
So-
here's an example for myself, right? I have 6 shows about to do a 7th, and I don't always wear this outfit like a suit. But because this one's business, I said, I'm going to do that for this one. I also do it for Heroes Rising. But when I go teach martial arts, I'm not in this. I'm in a whole different suit, a martial arts outfit. When I'm teaching somebody personal training, I'm in a workout outfit. And I do love the color black, even though some people have said it's not a color. It is to me. But then also because sometimes I'll go to different businesses, I got to dress according to who they expect me to be when I show up to their business. If they expect a business attire, I'm going to wear that, right? Because I want to speak in their language. And then also because I also own a wood shop, when I work in my wood shop, I have to wear different clothing because I don't want my clothing to be hanging so I don't get caught into a machine. So there's so many different aspects. And that's why I love what I do. I get to be different all the time.
Yeah.
And I have so much fun.
Likewise, I'm playing tennis tomorrow morning, so of course I'm not wearing nice clothes.
You're not? I play tennis in a suit. I'm just kidding.
Yeah, that would be fun to try, though. That would be maybe Andrea Agassi would have done that back in the day for a commercial. So.
Probably so. There's probably one out there. We just haven't seen it.
Yes.
So, Kelly, I'd like to shift a moment, and because I had said that while there are situations where, like you said, where people are hugging a toilet, they're feeling like the end of the world is happening for them and so forth. I think how people going through an addiction and how it's bedazzled, it's different than what really happens for people. And I'd like you to take us through that journey. Obviously every journey is different. Some people probably fast and quick, and others are quite tumultuous. But I'd like you to give us an idea so that way we can see what addiction is really like instead of the flash and crazy that we might see on TV.
Sure. So the best example I can give everybody is, have you ever tried to go on a diet? Pretty much everybody's tried to diet, right?
Sure.
Friday, you say to yourself, I'm going to diet on Monday, right? So then Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, you eat everything. Pizza, pasta, ice cream, what have you. And then Monday, you go, okay, that's it. I'm on a diet. I'm done. So then Monday, you get in that mindset, right? I'm doing this. And you may go all Monday, and you may make it through breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And Monday night, you're a little cranky, but you're okay. Tuesday morning, you wake up and you go, oh yeah, that's right, I'm on this diet. And you have that, okay, crap. And you go to the office and you go to work and somebody has a donut and you see the donut, you notice the donut. And then all day you notice everything around sugar and food, right? All you're thinking about is, when can I eat? Oh, look, there's Taco Bell. Oh, who brought pizza? And that's all you're thinking. By dinner time, you're cranky because there's your salad with your chicken. And what you really want is fried chicken, but you have grilled chicken. And then you start talking in your head, right? Why am I doing this? What's the point? Am I going to make it? And then you make it to Wednesday. But come Wednesday, you're detoxing. Your body's getting rid of the chemicals and the preservatives and the sugar, and you're cranky. You're hangry, right? You're hungry, you're angry, you're irritable. Everyone around you says, why are you so cranky? What's wrong with you? Just go eat the damn donut already. I've had enough, right? So that starts to happen. By Wednesday night, you go, that's it. I'm done. I'm having a piece of chocolate. And then you have one piece of chocolate. And then you say to yourself, oh, well, I had one. I can have a whole candy bar. Now you have a candy bar. Now you go, well, since I'm off my diet, I might as well have what I want. And you have a feast of different types of food. Thursday, you wake up and you go, it's Thursday. It's almost the weekend. I'm going to start on Monday. Right back to eating junk food. Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Monday rolls around. I'm going to do it again. That's addiction in a nutshell for people who don't understand addiction. The mind is so powerful that when the body starts to detox from whatever chemical you're on, the mind goes, I have to have that. I have to have that. Why can't I have that? Everyone else is having that. Why can't I do it? And then the mind says, now you need that. So it talks so loud that you go, I'm going to do this now, and I'll go back to this on Monday. And that's with any drug. It could be heroin, cocaine, alcohol, sugar, Amazon Prime. It can be porn, sex addiction. Anything that takes over your life goes through that pattern. So that's what it looks like.
Wow. Thank you for that. Yeah, thank you for that. Anybody else want to address what she just shared?
Well, the interesting thing that we deal with on the spiritual side is a lot of this goes back to discipline. And this, of course, Dr. Cali's teaching discipline, I'm sure, in what she's doing. So, and a lot of these folks need accountability partners. So when my wife and I minister to people, when we counsel someone, a lot of them just need someone they can talk to, be honest with, share their heart, but then be accountable, female to female, male to male, to have someone to say, no, no. It's okay to do that. And, the old Nancy Reagan slogan, just say no. I mean, addictions, it's obviously hard because it's something that they've invited into their life, and it's hard to kind of kick that out of their life. But when we encourage and pray with people, we just have to say, you have to put the Lord first and let him direct you in this path, and just choose. We choose what we do. We all have the same 24 hours. So we choose to do what we all choose. We have to make sure it's the wisest thing for us, and it's not the foolish things. We've helped people through addictions as well from the spiritual angle, and it's just really about surrounding them with people, because you are who you hang around with. Your best. The three people you hang around with most is who you are, and that's why it's important to have strong men or women in your life who have outstanding character and who are going to hold you accountable. I have I call them 5 men of honor, that they have my full permission to call me out if I ever do anything that they see as wrong or is not the best thing for me, and say, Robert, you should have considered maybe doing this a different way. And so they do it with love, but they do it because I want to be held to the highest standard. And I know a lot of people that Dr. Cali counsels and we counsel, they want to be the best version of themselves, but they just need that tough love. And once they have that and they feel that they're safe and secure, that they can let everything go that is not best for their life, then their true best self comes out, and then everybody can go, there you are. That's the person I know that you were, or know that you are. So I'm sure you see that, Dr. Cal. That's all your success stories. You see that a lot with people.
I do want to say one thing, though. We do treat addiction as a chemical problem, not a spiritual problem on my side. So when you come to us, the question is, what's missing in your body chemically? Is it dopamine, serotonin, cortisol? So we actually do a test to see where everything is in the brain and body. Because when you're treating addiction, if you treat chemical first, the mental and the spiritual fall in line second. That way we're not battling. It's not a choice or willpower. We're actually seeing what's missing in the body. Sometimes it's a mineral deficiency. and you're gravitating towards sugar, you're gravitating towards preservatives. So from there, once we get that fixed, then we work on the mental, the trauma, we get into all of that type of work, and then we work on the spiritual last. So we do things a little bit differently, but the end game is the same. I'm sure, Robert, the goal is to get you where you want to go, get you in the right path of where you need to be. And it's just a different way to get there.
Sure. We want people healed, whole, and set free. That's the bottom line. Healed, whole, and set free.
I got to tell you, Dr. Cali, when you were talking, I kept thinking the cycle you were talking about is, I think the addiction could also be self-sabotage. I'm not worthy, right? And when people start to saying, well, I'm going to fail anyway, I might as well fail big. I might as well just keep going with it. And then that's when they see, because the weight doesn't come on immediately. Addiction, I don't think it's an immediate thing that happens. It does take some time.
Gradual.
Some are shorter than others. Some take longer for it to really be seen by someone. Somebody who becomes addicted to, say, crack, they don't think they're addicted to crack in the beginning. They just think they're just feeling good, right? I don't do drugs, so I can't speak for them, but I've had friends who've done things like that, and they said they were not, at first, they never thought they were addicted. They just thought they wanted to get that feeling again, or wanted to get away from the situation, maybe at home, in a relationship, whatever it is. So they were doing an escape, and the escape was given to them through a substance. So for me, it is that self-sabotage that I'm not good enough, or look at their body, I could never be like them, or look how much money they have. Maybe I have to do drugs. Maybe they're doing drugs. So there's a lot of this self-talk that people go through. And when you talked about, Robert, the religious aspect of it, I think that in order for everybody to heal from any addiction, there has to be some faith that we put into whoever's helping us, God, and ourselves. But we definitely need to start with us.
Yes.
So that's just my take on that.
Absolutely. If I may just add to that, a lot of temptations, which of course is temptations lead to addictions. We can all agree on that. We just have to, when the enemy plants that in our mind, that's a seed that is dropped. We don't have to water it. We don't have to let it grow. We can start right away. I'm not participating in this. I'm not going to do this. We do with a lot of men who, unfortunately, are hooked on pornography, and it starts with a seed of your wife is not, they don't have the desire for their wife that they should. So they go after other situations. And that's a seed that's planted, because they have to go back and say, listen, I married this woman. I am dedicated to her, and I am not going to look elsewhere. There's a scripture in Job that says, I have made a covenant with my eyes not to look upon a woman with lust. Well, that's a decision. It's a decision. It's a very simple decision. When we're at the beach a lot, we live here in Florida, so we're at the beach a lot. It's okay to look at someone walking by for 1 second, but then don't take it any further, because then that can snowball into something worse. Like the person who takes the drug the one time because their peer pressure friend said, let's do it. Okay, if you did it once, realize that was probably a bad decision. I should not do that again, because the consequences are going to be grave. We have to make those cognitive decisions that we have to choose the best path for us. But I'm going to say our enemy wants to steal, kill, and destroy from us. He wants to take us out. So he's going to use every method he can to sidetrack us from our best in the Lord. We call it our prophetic destiny. God has given us a great destiny. It says in Psalms 139, 14 through 17. And so God has greatness for us, but some of us don't choose greatness. We choose average, below average. We just choose not to live our best. And that's okay.
I think, it is okay. But we have to also consider that not everything is an addiction at first that's a negative. It could be, hey, you know what? I decided to have dessert today. That doesn't mean I have to have it every single
day.
time.
Right.
And Dr. Kylie, you can probably speak on this, that some addictions don't start in a negative way. They may be a simple like, let me buy something on, you talked about Amazon Prime. Let me just buy something here. And then all of a sudden, somebody says, hey, you know what? I had to get a second job because my wife or my husband, they're constantly buying, and all of our paycheck is going to buy these things that we don't even use. And so it starts with little things. And one of the things that when you talked about the beach, that it takes 1 second to look, but then there's people who say, I'm married, but it doesn't hurt to look. And then they will look and look and look and look. And then the other person goes, but I thought you were married.
Yes.
And then all of a sudden it does snowball, but it's so innocent at first that it really doesn't even say I'm addicted. But Dr. Cali, you can talk about how an addiction spirals out of control.
So a true addict doesn't matter what the consequence is. That means addiction is not a choice. It's not a choice you can say, okay, well, I'm not going to look because I'm going to ruin my marriage. A true addict doesn't care about the outcome. So that's the first thing. So somebody who can make that choice and stop is not a true addict in the definition of the DSM sense, which is what we use to diagnose addiction. When it comes to things that spiral out of control, it starts off as a coping mechanism. How can I lessen the stress of whatever this is? How can I feel better? And then we look at the chemical component. The dopamine drops in your brain. That's why you do something that may seem unorthodox or unnatural. Let's look at Amazon Prime for an example. When you look at Amazon Prime, you get a dopamine hit by scrolling and you're like, ooh, shiny shoes. Ooh, sale, 2 for 1, right? Then you put 2 shoes in your cart, but your brain goes, they're 2 for 1. I can get 4 for the price of 2. I was going to buy 2 anyway. Therefore, 2 is free. We call it girl math. Now I have 4 in my cart. And then you push the button and then your brain goes ping, 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 dopamine, right? Then you sit and wait 2 days. They're going to be here in 2 days. Now the package comes to the front door. Dopamine spikes again. You open the door, you open the package. The shoes are amazing. You wear them. Maybe it lasts for 2 or 3 days. And then the dopamine drops. Now you're back where you started and you're going, okay, I worked hard this week. I want a reward or I want to escape. The 2 reasons people use reward and escape. I'm going to order more shoes. So you're back on Amazon Prime. Boom, bing, 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 bing. So what's happening is your dopamine is off. So if we can get you to regulate the chemicals in your brain, you won't do that. You won't step out. Well, kids say you won't step outside your marriage, but you're not going to notice women so much like that. You're not going to notice the drugs and the alcohol because the dopamine is level. Your brain chemicals are normal. People search for drugs, alcohol, porn, what have you, when their dopamine is off and their stress is high. The higher the stress, the lower the dopamine. That's going to lead you down a path of something. Once you get into that, it also becomes, I got away with it, which becomes an addiction in itself. I was able to do that. I ordered those shoes. My husband took a second job. He solved my problem. Now I'm going to buy more. And it keeps snowballing until somebody says, that's enough. I'm done. And they cut it off. So my personal experience is my husband lost his life from long-term drug use of heroin. It didn't stop him. The consequences didn't stop him. The 5 overdoses, the 14 car crashes, me trying to file for divorce, none of that made a difference because he was a true addict. And when you talk about true addiction, the brain chemicals are so off that whatever it is that makes their brain ping, they're going to grab and gravitate towards. So addiction's rooted truly in the brain. And if we can chemically work with that, then we can mentally deal with your trauma and your stress, bring that down, then we can deal with everything else. So it's a 3-part process.
Yeah, a lot of
powerful. Go ahead.
A lot of, and to just to build on what Dr. Cali said, a lot of people who make these decisions justify it and say, well, I deserve to go to Amazon and buy something because I had a great week of work. I made a sale or whatever they did. But then if they let that become a habit, that's not life building, it's more of a detriment to them, then that's where that addiction starts to happen, because they've not made a decision that that they can justify, and that becomes a problem. And again, I know we look at it from different angles, and that's certainly fine. We can respect that. I just know that when we let, from the spiritual side, when we let the Lord come in, and we look at everything from Jesus's perspective, he wants to make us all whole. He wants to give us all fresh starts. He wants to clean the slate. His grace is sufficient. These things we've all heard before. He wants to just give us a chance to say, you know what? That's not my best for you. So let me give you a different direction and perspective. And we found that, my wife and I have counseled hundreds of couples, that they just need to see it from a different perspective, from a godly perspective, that what they're doing is not life-building to their partner, to their children, to their business, to whatever. And if they can, when we can break that, boy, I tell you what, we've seen people's faces, their complex change, just the way they look. They come back the next day and they're like, we got this. I'm not going back. I've made a decision. I put my foot down and say no more.
So something that I have seen where people do a change or a shift as well, Dr. Cali, and I'm wondering if any of these modalities are used. So I'm a neuroscientist, and so I use neuro-linguistic programming, hypnosis, and other modalities, because sometimes when you're talking about like the need for self-worth or feeling important or valued, or anchoring happiness or whatever, so that you can find happiness in a different way, a different thing. So I wondered if you'd address that, because I found those so rewarding.
Yes. So I have a 5-day executive reset. And the very first thing we do is we get the narrative. We find out your whole history, like you would normally in therapy. The second thing we do is EMDR. So we use eye movement to neutralize the trauma. And then we use NLP to anchor the new memory in the body, because everything appears in the body somatically from the brain. So the brain and the body are connected. So if you're having a bad day, let's say, for example, if you've ever noticed how you're having a bad day, you wake up late, you're angry, the kids don't listen, you didn't get breakfast, you're running out the door, and you get your purse caught on the door or your belt clip, right? And then you're stuck, and then you can't get in the car, and then you spill your coffee. It's like a series of negative events happen, right? And you're like, why is this happening? And it all started because you were irritated. So the mind and the body are connected. So we teach that. And then when we're breaking an addiction, we're using the NLP, we're using the EMDR to do the opposite. We're pulling it apart. And then we're anchoring in the new memory and the new positive space, and how to meditate and how to release that trauma in the body, and how to calm your central nervous system. Because if your nervous system is out of whack, you're going to look for any substance to make it in alignment. For example, how many people wake up and have a cup of coffee? You wake up and the first thing you do is put the coffee pot on, right? Some people don't even brush their teeth. They put the coffee pot on, then they brush their teeth, because that caffeine is how they wake up. That is their central nervous system regulator in the morning. So we look at all of those things, and we use the tools we have psychologically that we know work. NLP works, hypnosis works. We know these things, EMDR works. So we throw them in there along with regular therapy, which helps boost everything we have. So the more tools we have at our disposal, the better the client's going to have an outcome. And then when people say, well, do you do meetings? Sure. If a meeting works, go. If a client says, I don't want to go, don't go. Either way, we're going to throw everything we have at you to get the best outcome of your recovery or your sobriety that we can. And then once we get you there, now we're going to make you the best version of yourself with some performance coaching, continued NLP, all of those good things.
Love it.
Incredible conversation that we've had. We are coming at wrapping up the show. In relationships matter in business, I think that we took it to the addiction part, but just quickly, if you can, 30 seconds each, why does relationships, when we're doing business or we're in business, why do they matter? Robert, go ahead. You're up.
Relationships matter because people want to work with people like them, people they can trust, people that they can rely on, that they know that when there's a crisis, that they're going to shine and be there for them through thick or through thin. And at the end of the day, relationships are, you strip everything away, the relationships, they just matter the most. If there's a crisis, if there's anything going on, go back to the core of who you're working with. And if you trust that person, you know you're going to get through it.
Thank you.
And for me, relationships in business are everything, because we are white glove. We're concierge. So we're like the black ops. We come in and nobody knows we're there. So a lot of our referrals are word of mouth. I've been in this space for 30 some years. They know what we can deliver. They know how we work. So they'll call me and say, hey, I have this celebrity client, or have this sports player, or have this doctor, and we don't want it public. We bring the whole team in, we bring the whole team out, and people say, were you guys here? So it's super important that I build those connections, because we can do some work other people can't. And we're not a brick and mortar. We bring the whole team to the client. So that's super important. And then being able to refer when we can't do something. We may need to bring in another doctor, or bring in another person that can do something that we can't for that client. So having that, I don't want to say Rolodex because I'll age myself, but having that book of people that we can call on is key.
It is. Dr. Andrea, your thoughts on that? Relationships matter in business.
Well, considering the time that it is, I'm going to shift to do an end of this relationship only for the scope of the radio show, but be able to extend them beyond this point, because to me, relationships do matter. And so I'm Dr. Andrea Adams-Miller. I own the Red Carpet Connection and the Subconscious Connection. And as a neuroscientist, I help people to be seen, heard, and understood by the right audiences at the right time in the right places, and to help them with their brain mastery so that they are capable of doing all the success and significance that they want to live a life of legacy and to leave a life of legacy. So thank you for that. And Sifu, I would like you to talk about you, because you never do.
Well, before I do that, let's get Robert. Robert, you got 30, 45 seconds. Tell us about why somebody should reach out to you.
Well, again, our heart is to we're servant leaders. We like to serve people. At the end of the day, if you serve others, good things happen. I know that for a fact. So whether it's we're here on the witness partner side. The 6-book series about the end times is very provoking. Certainly gets your juices flowing. It gives you a unique biblical perspective on what it will happen before the Lord returns. As a financial advisor, we're just here to serve our clients here in the state of Florida, and we just love to partner with people. We do lots of client events. We just love to give back. At the end of the day, all business owners love to give back to their clients. That just glues the relationship, and if you spend time with them, they're not going to leave and go elsewhere. We know that for a fact. So I'm just honored to be in the place that God's put me, and just love being a blessing to all those I come across. And thank you for allowing me to be here today. So
thank you. Dr. Cali, 30, 45 seconds.
Sure. So I'm Dr. Cali Estes at Sober on Demand. If you're looking for something different to treating addiction or mental health, something out of the box, or maybe you want a 5-day executive reset to handle burnout or get to the best version of yourself, that's what we do. I'm also on Amazon. If you don't want to hire us, but you want to read, you can go ahead and read. My husband and my journey's on there. It's called I Married a Junkie. And it's all about his heroin addiction while I'm building a business helping people get sober. Or if you want to learn how to become a recovery coach or interventionist, you can check us out at theaddictionsacademy.com, and we can help you get trained.
Love it. Love it. Thank you so much. And I'm Sifu Rafael. I love helping people learn to understand that the words that they use can impact their lives greatly. Yes. So you can find my email is pretty simple, sifu@speakingprowess.com. My company is Speaking Prowess. For me, it's the relationships that make my life worthwhile. Yes. For example, I had somebody just this past week come to one of my businesses who had not been with me since 98 and came back. because the relationship was constant. And they were not ready then. But they were ready this week, and they said, hey, I'm back. Sign me up for a year.
That's great.
Like, we will be happy to. But
Great.
when we can communicate properly, relationships matter.
Yes.
So thank you, everybody.
Amen.
So blessed to have everybody here with us. Do me a favor, you guys hang out for a minute. Everybody watching, share this show. So many golden nuggets. It's like you got a golden ticket to some great information. Go share this show with others. And we look forward to seeing you next Friday, which is Valentine's Day. Lots of love coming. So make sure somehow I'm not going to wear red, but I may wear pink. We'll see. Everybody, have a blessed day. Take care.
You too. Take care.